Steven Spielberg takes his audience on a roller coaster ride in Saving Private Ryan. For the first time ever, D-Day, the taking of Omaha Beach, has been depicted in its actuality. Spielberg leaves nothing behind in this scene. This opening scene is dedicated to the bloodied invasion of the Omaha Beach. In order to understand the context of the scene, one needs to know the history. According to history, this is the largest amphibious attack ever to be carried out. It wasn't an easy task for the Allied forces to combat and stop the overgrowing Axis regime. Allied forces were outnumbered, overpowered, and pushed in a corner. But D-Day is marked as the beginning of the end of World War II. The scene starts with a grey-blue sky depicting absence of sunlight, gloomy and sad. The use of desaturated color palette shows depression and acts as a clear indication of the situation at hand. The camera tilts down, revealing tank barricades, and we can hear gushing water, the powerful force of nature. Why start the main sequence with a tank barricade and gushing water? Well, Normandy landings were a part of deceiving the German troops, attacking them from where they least expected it to be. This shows that even though it was difficult, they still went for it. There is no music. The only sounds we can hear is of the hard gushing water. Usually an upbeat music is inserted in order to intensify the scene, but Spielberg keeps it very subtle and natural to give the audience a feel of the things being unfolded.
I especially appreciated Steven Spielberg's and John Williams' choice not to put music in the battle scenes. That allowed those scenes to be more visceral. Anytime you put music in, even the most beautiful music, it makes the audience realize from moment to moment they're watching a movie.
The scene cuts to the landing craft speeding through the waters. Here is when Spielberg reveals his art of work. The camera movement. The entire movie is shot in a way to mimic the actual battle scene. The exhaustion, the hopelessness, the chaotic conditions, and the level of difficulty faced by the Allied forces. We are also shown the miserable conditions of the Allied forces. Seasickness. Notice how the camera moves along with the rising tides and slams hard down. Again, only the sound of hard water and fast winds are heard. It is shot in such a way that it appears to be a POV shot of another soldier. Notice how the shots are kept close. There are no wide-angle, extreme long shots, or perhaps a bird's eye view of the scene. Spielberg wanted to pull the audience in the scene. He keeps the connection alive by keeping us immersed in the action scene. This is followed by a close-up of a shaking hand. Then reveals the rank of the soldier, which shows us that the main leader and the main character is nervous, and not as many army leaders are supposed to be. This brings us closer to the accurate portrayal of the situation. The scene drags out, revealing other soldiers, seasick, shaken, and not the usual army men we are introduced to in other war movies. Notice how all their helmets have no signs on them, but Tom Hanks's does, shows us that he is the leader. Given Spielberg is an American director, he could have easily shown the men to be confident, unshaken, and morally strong, more like super soldiers. But he brought the element of humanity into the movie. Knowing that the Allied were going against the most powerful army at that time, they had little chance of success.
Clear the rim! 30 seconds! Got me with you!
North side stick, start with side stick. Move fast and clear those murder holes.
Want to see plenty of beef between men. 5 men is a juicy opportunity. 1 man's a waste of ammo.
Get the sand out of your weapons. Keep those actions clear. We'll see you on the beach.
Soon after this line, we are introduced to 3 explosions. Not that loud, but significant. This shows that they are getting closer to their target. Three explosions, 3 different reactions. Moves to soldiers praying. Again, shows their nervousness. Spielberg broke all contemporary methods of filming. If it was any other director, let's say Michael Bay, he would have shown us the distance through a bird's eye view, made the camera gush through water and establish all angles of the scenario. But Spielberg kept it extremely close to reality. You could feel yourself sitting in one of those landing crafts. Keeping the camera extremely and awkwardly close means invading privacy of the character. He intentionally keeps it close for us to feel each and every reaction and expressions of the soldiers. Moreover, Keeping it close makes us realize the tight space they are in. Imagine if this was again a long shot. We would have admired the scenery more than the intensity of the scene. This scene shows the helplessness and the power of the German forces. Spielberg places the audience in straight fire, shot from the perspective of a soldier. Moreover, Spielberg crosses boundaries and shows us the German perspective as well, and then also shows us the main character's perspective. Chaos, randomness, and effective use of sound takes place next. Notice how even underwater the struggle has been shown. It feels as if even for the cameraman it is difficult to reach the beach as much as it was difficult for the soldiers. Spielberg never loses sight of the soldiers. He is a part of them, following them. This is the only color other than the grey palette used. Even the red color is not as bright as it's supposed to be. It is dull and dusky. Notice how the sound is cancelled out completely when the soldier is below water. And when the soldier goes up, we can hear the sound again. This gives us a very horrifying effect. Notice how cuts are very less and mostly pans, tilts, quick placements and displacements, and constantly moving camera. It appears to be random and chaotic, depicting the true essence. Nevertheless, notice how every shot or movement is motivated. Look at the details that Spielberg has added. If you blink, you miss it. Spielberg uses the method of a war film cameraman to shoot this whole scene. Spielberg went an extra mile by using real amputated people for this scene to add a natural impact to the film. Spielberg has an eye for detail. Every shot has new information. And if every shot is revisited, we get additional information every time. Notice how the camera mimics the explosion? It moves exactly at the same time as the sand rises. The use of numbing sound in this shot is exemplary. It not only adds to the intensity but also makes the audience realize the ground realities of war. Moreover, this is the main character we are looking at. Putting him in such a situation where haphazard chaos is all around, where everything is lost and he looks completely struck is a tremendous job done by the director in terms of acting and sound utilization. Look at their faces and expression. These are not the real hardcore trained for anything soldiers we usually see on the big screens. This shot in particular talks tremendously about the inner feelings of the soldiers, scared, trapped, hopeless, unaware of their surroundings. This again in particular talks about the horrifying experiences of the soldiers. The use of shell-shocked effect of the main character along with his POV shots creates a connection with the main character. For a few moments we experience exactly what Captain Miller is feeling, hearing and looking at. A tremendous job in terms of saving the cat. Tom Hanks looks directly at the audience followed by a sentence that we can easily make out. "What now, sir? Why make him look at the audience? It's because he is lost, so he looks at us for answers. The Almighty. The soldiers are referring to the German soldiers as the Almighty, since they have higher ground and destructive power raining down on them. Spielberg never shows us the enemy's face. He shows their point of view and emphasizes on their powerful position, but doesn't show their faces. Why is that so? Because the forces at the ground cannot see their enemy either. All they can see is a higher ground from where all the firepower is coming. This brilliant decision by the director creates a great connection with the ground forces. Nothing comes close to reality than this shot, who shows internal organs of home country soldiers on the big screen. None other than Spielberg. He went chaotic with every detail but also made it very comprehensible to the audience.
What are you guys? 104th Medical Battalion, sir! Here to set up field operations! Get rid of that crap! Grab yourself some weapons! Follow me!
Spielberg also makes use of the slow motion shots at some point. Moreover, technically he kept the shutter speed at 45 in order to get this wavy motion blur effect. The blurring effect is used to demonstrate how a human eye on the ground would see. Spielberg swiftly cuts to a point of view shot of Tom Hanks. For a few seconds, we are exactly seeing what the main character is seeing. Notice the breathing sound effects. Isn't that horrifying? Also, something in particular to be noticed here is how less cuts Spielberg uses in this shot.
No armor has made it ashore. We got no DD tanks on the beach. Dog 1 is not open. Who's in command here? You are, sir. Sergeant Horvath! Sir! You recognize where we are?
Right where we're supposed to be, but no one else is! Come on, it's where they're supposed to be!
Shore party! First wave, ineffective. We do not hold the beach, say again. We do not hold the beach.
We're all mixed up, sir! We got the leftovers from Fox Company, Able Company, and George Company. Look, we got the beachmaster.
Shore party! Shore party! Got aft, got aft.
One immaculate aspect about the scene that needs to be addressed here is the production design. Spielberg kept it very tight and confined, making it equally easy and difficult. Utilization of less space and creating randomness with coherence is done remarkably. The use of explosions, dead bodies, water, smoke in the background, the use of tracer bullets, burned up soldiers, and blood adds detail to this scene. Also note how there are no shadows on their faces or on the ground. Since the weather is cloudy and there is smoke in the air, hence almost every soldier has the same light on their faces. Since it is shot from 3 different perspectives, we can look at the set from 3 different angles. One angle is from the top, which gives us a vantage point of the set. Another view is from the ground where we get to see soldiers, smoke, explosions, barricades, and dead bodies. The third perspective is from Captain Miller's eye. All he sees is smoke, sand, and soldiers falling to the ground. Moreover, something that shouldn't be overlooked here is the costume design. Exact costumes that were used in the war were remade. Their color blends in with the environment and doesn't overpower the color palette used in the film. It rather complements it. What makes this film brilliant is the direction style and the feeling of realism Spielberg added to it. He attained what he intended to do in the first place. His choice of filming, acting, and sound utilization has brought a real-life event back to us.
Stay with him. It's going to rise up with him. He's going to shoot at that and then come right back down again.
No wonder veteran war survivors were very much moved by revisiting the horrors of D-Day. Also, keeping this scene at the very beginning of the film throws the audience headfirst into what they are in for. Spielberg carries out this method throughout the rest of the film in a very outstanding way.